Hi friends, let's take a look at Tezos again and have a little catch up now. Again, I want to say to people, like I said in the Chainlink video, just a second ago, to go ahead and watch yesterday's video because yesterday's video is full of detail and it's got lots of information in it. And today's one is going to be is not going to have that much in there. Okay, it just simply isn't. What have we got on the go? Well, right now, we're kind of just finding the resistance in here. You could say then at the 382 and at this downward sloping trend line. This downward sloping trend line isn't necessarily going to, isn't necessarily going to be the be all and end all of this thing. It was like a measured move aspect before where we had this happen, and that's kind of played out. Then we came down, retested it for support and whatever else, but it's a little bit of a distraction in there as we look at that compared to just looking at the other bits of information that we have. For instance, we broke below the 21 EMA and now we're still below it, being resisted by it. I want to see the prices, of course, be maintained by the 55 because otherwise then these two will cross fairly soon, and that would speed that process up. If they do need to move down lower, then the 50, the 2900 area, which we've seen kind of 2924 for instance today already as operating as in terms of support. It's kind of, I want us to be putting in a higher low higher than this. I want a higher low. But there's things to be bearing in mind. For instance, the potential for this to be considered to be bearishly divergent on the stochastics. While we have these lower lows coming in as part of this process and the higher lows, it's kind of a broadening type structure overall, and we're kind of like in one of these sorts of things, which is like is annoying, and we're just kind of waiting for things to find a significant foothold. Anyway, so I'm going to just remove both of those lines there because I don't really particularly like them. And instead, we're kind of still asking the question, we've had this profit target met. We've had this one kind of, close enough or whatever in terms of this. We've had some price action movement down towards that side. Just draw it in body to body instead. What's it like? Slightly lower, I think. Yeah, so maybe this way round is a bit better in terms of just these three profit taking targets. So there's your 618 sort of golden pocket one there. Here's the 50% one here, and here's the 382 one just here instead. So I had to shrink those bars, by the way. You might have noticed me shrinking them whilst I said that this is lower down. Well, it's lower down, but of course the gaps between them here, this movement down between the 236 and 382 was different, and that's why I changed these things up a little bit there. You might have been wondering. Anyway, so 382, we've come down to the 382. That could be potentially where we see the prices turn around at. If we need to come down here, then of course we can. I would be feeling quite sort of bemused and negative about that. We'd be going down below this other 236 Fibonacci retracement as well, which overall wouldn't be a good thing, drawn in from these highs up here down to the lows of our previous swing high and low. So I don't want to go back down below the 236 and invalidate that Fibonacci retracement. In terms of that Fibonacci retracement, it came up as high as the 50%. So you do often see turnarounds at those prices. So overall, that's just kind of waiting to see how this thing pans out, and we'll have to look at the Bitcoin pairing again as ever to see how that goes. But that's look at yesterday's video for a lot more information on this one as well. And indeed, I'm going to keep things really brief in terms of the dollar prices because we're still just doing what we're doing before. We're in this area here. We're finding this support at 286 or the 21 EMA or this upward sloping red line or whatever way you want to kind of look at it. There's various different ways of looking at that. As we've come in here and we've managed to put in this high, which is higher than this one and higher than that one on the RSI in terms of being not divergent, but it's variously divergent on the stochastics. We've been asking the question for the wee while: do we need to find support in here at the neutral line? This is kind of going to be what I'm looking to on the stochastics until such times as we're past that. We're not. So that's still sloping towards the downside, and the DM positive is kind of slinking down the way, but this here below 15, we've still got the potential for volatility. I want to see this tick towards the upside fairly quickly and undo the sort of the negative type cross here that you've got in the DMI. But I don't look to crosses. That's really just kind of besides the point, really. You just want to have this forming up nicely, and that could all happen at that sort of $3.05 area if we get another high in here. So of course, if we'd gone straight up there yesterday and today and all that, then of course we'd have room here for another one towards the downside. As time goes on, this is getting a bit extended, but of course this isn't the be all and end all. This is just kind of what we're looking at for now. The question being then, will $3.05 be too significant profit taking for us to break past it or not? And will the 285 continue to be good enough profit taking for us to be supported by it and the 21 EMA in terms of this general upward price action? And I do feel like there's a good chance that it could be having made it past this node on the VPVR. But like we've spoken about enough times, drop-offs in the VPVR signal both lack of buyers and willing sellers. So we need the prices to move up there, and that could require the volatility to do so, and could require sort of breakout type psychology. So that's what I'm looking for overall on this one at the minute. And then as the Ethereum pairing, well, we're asking, will this now be the low, coming in here, and will it be bearishly divergent or not, or bullishly divergent? Well, we can check just the update from yesterday. That's bearish convergence there on the stochastics. We've got the bullish divergence on the on the RSI. The DMI, the ADX lines is moved back above, remains above 20, and these things are still divergent. But we know I am hoping for something like over here in the 22nd of April, where we saw a rapid turnaround and an escalation towards the top side with the blue line, or else things are kind of negative, really, in a sense. But and the reason that they would become negative in a sense is because any sort of further down than we are already is a lower low on the weekly, and we want to just have this continue to be sort of higher highs and higher lows and all the rest of it. And we do know that there's some bearish divergence at times here on the weekly time frame. Comparing this one to this one, it's not divergent. Comparing this one to this one, it is divergent. Comparing this one to this one, it's like class B. Class B, it's equal highs in the RSI with a higher high here. So we've had some sort of negativity. If we can have all of that flush it out of the system here with the 21 EMA on the weekly time frame acting as support, bearing in mind that we generally do find support on here on this one, that I would like it to go towards the top side thereafter and continue towards the upside. And that's what I'm looking for in this particular pairing as part of this overall upward channel area. Of course, you could see some sort of higher low coming in, and just consider this to be part of the overall upward movement down here where our previous one was at 0.08, but I don't want to see that happening. But if we did have to see things go down, then I'm looking for the 55 simple, the 50 simple and the 55 EMA to operate as support in around those areas at our previous lows. But just generally speaking, what we're looking at things on, not generally speaking, specifically speaking, we're looking at things much more closely down here in the daily time frame and asking how this is going to shape up here, and whether or not we'll be finding a bullishly divergent bottom on the RSI, or just further continuation towards the downside like the stochastics suggest there would be, and the 21 EMA coming in at where we see our previous high at. So if we go up above our previous high, we're recapturing the 21 EMA, move on up above that, and the 21 EMA could move above the 55 EMA, and all sorts of stuff like that could be quite positive. So we'll see how this goes in the longer run of things. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it, as ever. If you share this video with a friend, if you've got one that you think would like it, really appreciate that too. All the best. Catch you in the next episode. And remember, yesterday's episode is full of good information, so I'd watch that too. Things haven't really changed around an awful lot. At all. And in fact, yesterday's videos are valid for all of today's price action. So yeah, great, good stuff. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode.